Yeah, good evening, everyone. If you can hear my voice, can you please put it on the chat box? Okay, thank you. So I've accepted everybody at the moment. So uh, anybody that is waiting to join now is going to be the one that is going to have an issue. So let's continue. You are welcome to the Power BI class. So this is the virtual class, class 3. If you can see my screen, you should be able to see my desktop. Can you see my screen? Can you type, yes, I can see your screen? If you can see my screen. All right, perfect, thank you. So let's open Power BI. So today we are going to be Power BI desktop. So today we are going to be talking about data modeling majorly. And even if you don't have a computer background, at least you will understand what data modeling is. And that was why I started 2 weeks ago by explaining what tables, relationship means, because you need to understand it. Because data modeling is just the structure of how tables relate together in Power BI. You can have different tables and they relate together. I think it was last week we were talking about data normalization and stuff like that. So today we are going to have different tables, and we are going to, don't forget that last week I showed you that we have these different views. DAX, we are still going to treat some things on DAX as well. So this is the report view. We have the table view and we have the model view. So today, what I'm going to be teaching more is going to be on the model view. So our data, we are going to get our data from CSV. Don't forget that I think last week we got our data from Excel workbook. So we are going to get our data from CSV. Now, these are fake data. So this is just the data that has been extracted. They are fake data. So it's a data that just contains customers, employees. So the first table is the customer table. So I will open it. Now it will ask me whether I want to transform or not. I have taught you how to transform data, but we are not doing any transformation today. So, and now I'm going to be saving what we are doing now, because where we stopped today, so we are going to build on it, because next week we are going to be building different dashboards. So where we stopped today, I will save it, then I will continue from it. So where we stopped today, take note of it. So even when you are practicing, save it. Next week, because next week we are going to be more, it's going to be more of data visualizations. And we are still going to go back to what I taught you last week on Power Query, splitting into years and stuff like that. So let's go to, so we have employee. Again, we load the data. Like I said, it's a fake data. It was generated by Python. So take note of that. Then text CSV again, orders, load it. Then load the data. Then again, we go to CSV, products, load the data. So this is, for example, I think this is an example of a textile manufacturing company, even though it's a fake data. but it's an example of a textile manufacturing company. When we begin to do some data visualizations, you are going to see what I'm talking about. So we have our data here now. We have the customer. That's the first table. So it has these columns. We have the employees. It has this column. We have the orders. It has this column. We have the products. It has this column. And we have the sales, which has these columns as well. Now, let's go to the, now remember I told you that this is the report view. So let's go to the model view because we want to talk about data modeling today. So let's go to this is the model view. Now, here we have table, we have relationship, and we have cardinality. Now, so let me explain table first. So this is customer table, which is the collection of the customer country, customer name, customer ID of this organization. Is a fake organization, like I said. And this is the employee table. So because as a Power BI, if you want to be expert in Power BI, then you need to know data modeling. It is very, very important. But I'm going to explain to you, even if you don't have a computer science background. That's why you see that I'm not giving you theory. I'm going to explain to you, even if you don't have a computer science background, that you are going to understand. Now, so, or you don't have a statistics or any science background. So now this is employee table, and it contains the employee ID, the employee name, the position, the region. So what this means is that there's a table when customers make order, it records their customer ID. Now here, the primary key, every customer has a distinct number that separates them from every other customer, and that's what we know as the customer ID, which is the primary key. You remember in our 2 weeks ago when I defined primary key, I said it's the unique figure. So this is the primary key. Now, this is the employee table. So every employee, if you work for an organization, you will notice that you also have an employee, you have an employee ID. And if they want to, if you want to check your pay slip, you see your employee ID, and that's your employee ID. So, and that's the primary key of this table. So we have the employee name, we have position, we have region. Then this is the order table. Now, the order table has a foreign key here. The orders table, it has a foreign key here, because when customers make order, it records their customer ID. And when the employee that attends to the order, it records their employee ID. And it records their employee date, the order dates, and also the order ID. So every order has an ID as well. So here now, we have products. So this is the product table. All these ones, now, okay, let me continue. This is the product table. So the product table contains the category of category of products that the company, that the organization is selling, the price of the products, the product ID. So here now, the primary key is the product ID, and this is the product name. So maybe textile, clothing, and the likes. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, customer, employee, orders, and products, they are known as dimensional table. And why do we call them dimensional table? Because they are the ones that gives us the key attributes of the organization. Whereas if we go to sales table, the sales table is the fact table. And what do we mean by fact? Fact table is like Fact tables deals with numbers, the numerical figures, and combines the foreign key of the numerical figures. I will explain what I'm talking about. Now, if you look at these cells, you'll discover that we have the order ID. So in every data modeling, either is a snowflake or star schema. That is I'm not going to explain that because it depends on what the organization is using. That's above this scope. So either is a snowflake schema or a star schema. You will always have a dimension table and fact table. So dimension table is what describes the entity of an organization, where the fact tables talks about the numbers. It deals with numbers. And if you look at this place, the order ID, the product ID, the quantity that was sold, the sales ID, and the total price. Now, if you look at the rest, which is the category, price, product ID, there was no table that combines two foreign keys together and also having quantity and total price, which are the what's it called now? They are the fact tables, the measurable tables. So another word we can call fact tables and measurable tables. So now, another thing you will notice in this data modeling is you will see that there are some connections. We call this cardinality. Now, if you look at customer table, is linked to the order table. Now, see here we have 1, and here we have star. So this means one to many. What does it mean? One customer can make many orders. So if you go to a supermarket, if you go to this organization to buy clothes, you can buy many clothes. One customer can buy many clothes. So the relationship here is one to many. That is what it means. One to many, one star, one to many. Then if you look at this place again, employee and others, what it means is that one employee can attend to different orders at the same time. So it's just like when you want to pay at the counter. So the employee that is attending to you would have logged in his employee ID, and it will not tell you that no, it's only one order you can pay at a time. Let me log out and log in again. It's going to take many orders. So that is what I mean by one to many. Then again, if you look at the order, you will see order is also related to the sales, and this one is 1 to 1. That is order table. When order table has been done, you can only make one order. The order are together and it combines the total price. That is why you have the total price here and the quantity here. So for example, if you have made payments at the counter, it records it as quantity and also record it as total price. So that is why it is 1 to 1. So it combines all the orders together and combines the price together. So when it combines the orders together is what makes it quantity. And when it combines all the products together is what makes, that's why we have total price here. Now, this is product table. How does it relate to sales? We have one to many. And the reason why we have one to many is that the products, you can have one product and has different price. So that is why we have one to many. So we call this cardinality. So you need to understand how your tables relate before you do your visualizations. And that is why I went to the model view. So when you receive data from your organization, if you are working in an organization and you receive the data, Power BI has the capability to dictate those relationships itself. So because somebody will ask me that, how did I do this one-to-many, one-to-one? Power BI has the capability. That is why is a software. It has the capability to detect the relationship itself. It has that capability to detect the relationship itself. So, because of that capability that it has to detect the relationship itself, all you need to do is when you have combined all your tables together, you need to come to model view and come and check their relationship. Because if, for example, if you are working in a different organization, this is like a manufacturing data now, a manufacturing organization data. If you are working in another organization that is not a manufacturing company, that is probably a government company, obviously they are going to have another data, which will not be related to orders, products, and sales. If you are working in an healthcare organization as a data analyst, what you are going to be having is a patient. You're going to have patients. You are going to have employee. You are going to have maybe a table for medication and stuff like that. So let's go to the report. Before we go to the report view and do a little. Oh, this person has joined again. Okay, no problem. I will delete this person now. Please don't click on any link. I don't know how he has joined again, but I will deal with the person now. Just give me a second. Please don't click on any link. I will work it out. Please don't click on any link. I didn't say anybody should click on any link. This person is a scammer. John AI note taker. This is a scammer. Please don't click on it. This is a scammer. I will work on it. And he didn't join when I was admitting everybody, but I will work on it. Take notes. Try to join tomorrow. You will see that you will not be able to join. No problem. All right. Let me see if we have any question. If you are waiting in the lobby, I've already said that when it is past 7, I will not admit anybody again. So with this data like this, are you going to get off from the company separate from like this and then now do data cleaning single for data before loading? Yes. Yes. If you want to, like next week, we are still going to do some transformation next week before we start the visualization. We are going to split maybe like the order date, split it into months, split it into year. So you can receive the data like that. So with data like this, are you going to get all the companies separate from? Yes, you are going to get it. So I believe that everybody understood what I just explained on data modeling. If you understand me, just say yes so that I can proceed and we quickly do some visualization. And also, before we do some visualization, maybe I will create some measures. I will introduce you to measures. All right. So let's move on. In the absence of no question, let's move on. In the absence of no question. So let's go to the table view now. Now, this is the table view. So now, part of those things, now we have the customer, we have the employee, we have the order, we have the product, and we have the sales. So we can create a new measure for total sales. Now, look at this place. We have total price, we have quantity. So we can create a new measure And with the new measure, we use it to know our total sales. So all you need to do is to click on new measure. So when you click on new measure, here you will change the name to total sales. Total sales, which is equal to sum. Now, remember that our sales table, that is where we want to pick it from our, we want to pick the total price from our sales table. So we are going to say total sales equals to sum of sales. You can see that I already bring it out for me, total price. So now I just click on that column. Now there's an error here, and deliberately I did it. The reason why, okay, I've already corrected that error. There's no error. So now you need to click on this commit, the green, and that is going to commit it, and you will see your data loaded on the side. Now, can you see that the data is loaded here? We have the total sales. So if we want to know the total sales, so all you need to do, this kind of visualization, you can use a card for it. So that will show you the total sales. Like I said, I'm going to be saving this. I'm going to be saving this. So we are going to continue next week. So here we have, for this data, we have 4279K. However, if you want to change the name, you can rename your visual here. Look at where I came to. You can rename the visual here. Now, if you want to change, you don't want this K, you want original figures to appear. Let's format this total sales. If you want to format it, you come to format your visuals. So format your visuals. But let's go to general first. The title is okay. The data format is okay. The properties is okay. You can edit the properties if you want. Header icon. You can change the background color if you want. For example, if I change the background color to blue now. No, let me change it back. This is if you want to change the border color, if you want to change the icon color. But let's go to the visuals. Now, call out value. Now, I can change the font type, just like in Microsoft Office. Maybe I don't want this font type. I want it to be Arial Black. And I want this to still be bold. I can change the color here. Now, display units. You can see that the display unit is in auto. No, I don't want it in auto. So I can change it to none. If I change it to none, it's going to give me the exact figure of the total sales. And the decimal here, I can change it to no decimal. Like if I don't want any decimal at all, you can see that I've changed it to 0. You can see that I've changed it to 0. Now, let's build. Now, this total sales, the total sales that is there, if I want to increase the font size, I can come here, come to the data format type, general, apply settings to total sales, effects, So I've changed this to black to make it more visible. And the visual border, I can reset it. The data format, the background, I've changed it to black. I can change the transparency, and I can leave the transparency like that. So the visual, the call out value, this is the call out value. Now, if I come here, I can rename this as total sales or total sales total sales. And I can still do some other editing. Now, the category label, if I want to increase the font size of total sales and change the color. Now, because I've been using blue, so let me use blue as well and make it bold. Then let me use area black. So now this is the total sales that was sold for this company. Let's assume that this data is for a month. So this was the total sales that was sold. Now, if we want to calculate another thing on total quantity, we are going to repeat the same thing. So let's create a new visual. You can see that I've clicked out. Let's create a new measure. And we are going to use the same method and say total quantity. Total quantity. Total quantity sold. So total quantity sold equals to sum. Now, remember that our quantity is in our sales table. So sales quantity, then like that. Then we click on our commit, on our green button, and that should be done. Now, one of the good things in Power BI that we always encourage people to do is to be doing copy and pasting when you have formatted one of your visuals. So let me copy and paste this. Now, all I need to do is to change this to total quantity. You can see I have my exact figure. I don't need to do any formatting again because I already have my exact figure. I have what I want. Now, let's take, for example, we still want to do some other visualization. Let me move away from measures now, and we want to do some visualizations. So let's assume we want to look at some products, some categories of products, and compare them with the total sales for all those products. No, I want the category to be X as is total sales to be like that. Okay. Categories. Then I could have total quantity. Let me change this to, yeah. Now, looking at this now, you will see this is a very good representation of what did I have? The total quantity that was sold by the category. Now, I can also format this figure. I can format it. If you observe, you will see that clothing has the lowest quantity that was sold, home appliances, followed by home appliances, followed by electronics, and it is sportswears that has the highest quantity that was sold for this month. Now, let's format this visual before I look into questions. If you want to format, let's go here and make it more cleaner, and possibly also we could do some things to it. Now, if I want data labels, I want the figures to appear. All I need to do is to click on data labels. If you can see here, you will see that it has given me the exact figures for all the categories. It has given me the exact figures for all the categories. Now, if I want to apply it to all, so that's data labels. Now, these are markers. Now, series, we don't need series. Zoom sliders, we don't need zoom sliders. Now, let me go to general. Now, title, the title is on. That's when I want the title to be on. So I can still click on it. I can make it bold, the text color, but personally, I love to have my text color. I have to have my background like this and make my text color to be blue. Make it bold, change it to area. Then this is just my own preference. You can do anything you want. It's just my own preference of designing. And I can increase it here, increase it a bit, increase it. Yes. So that's fine. It's just my own preference. You can do it anyhow you want. So background, you can edit background. You can change anything you want to change here. So let me go back to the visuals. So now these are the visuals. If I want the values to be on, that's there. If I want to change, I want it to be a bit bold. You can see that my x-axis is bold now. At least you know what x-axis is. You can see that it's bold. Increase it to being bold. So change this to area. All you need is consistency. Now, so that anybody viewing will be able to see properly. So this is for x-axis. So let's go to, the title. You can make the title to be bold as well. So this is why I said I'm going to save it, and we are going to continue this next week. I think this should be okay. Area, that's perfect. So y-axis, the values is on. I could change the, let me increase it to 12. Area black, then increase this to black, then make it bold, and title, increase this, change this to area, make it bold. So that is for the y-axis. We don't need, so for the data labels, I can increase it. I could leave it and make it, so the values for the data labels, so I can increase it here as well. Change this. Now you can see that I'm using the same fonts. Depending on what you want to use, depending on it, I'm not saying you should be using Arial or anything like that. But that's just my preference. So here is clear. You can remove the values if you want, but personally, I like to put values so that when I'm explaining to stakeholders, all I need to tell them that, as you can see from this figure, the spot has the highest quantity sold for this month, followed very keenly by the electronic products, and there were drop-offs from home products and clothing products. Now, let's replicate this for the total price as well. Let's replicate this for total price. So total price, all I need to do is to remove this. I mean, total sales, sorry. So we can see as well, electronic here has the highest sales for the month, followed by sport, followed by sports, followed by home, and the last one here is clothing. So let me see if we have questions. Oh, thank you. The best class so far. I grab everything as they go. Thank you very much. All right. I think I'm well self-explanatory today. So that's why we are not having questions. Okay, the total sales, is it the quantity or value? No, the total sales came from the total price that was sold, the sum of all the total price of each of those products. That is how we got the total sales. Oh, yes, I will give a recap. Don't worry. I will give a recap of everything that I've done. I will give a recap. Yeah, thank you very much. The good network made me to. Yeah, sports had the highest sales. Yes. No, it was not sports. Sport has the highest total quantity sold. Now you can change the topic if you want. So let's change the topic for this now. Let me go back to visualization. Let me change the topic. I mean the title rather. I can change the title from total quantity sold by category and change it to the total number of quantities sold. The total numbers of quantities sold by category. So you can see that I've edited the topics and total sales here, total sales by category. Also, I think that also makes sense. Total sales by category of products. If you want to add that, let me add it to this one. Total sales by category of products. So we have it there. Let me see if we have another question. How can we present this report on PowerPoint? No, you don't need to present it on PowerPoint. You can present it on Power BI. You can present this report on Power BI. So next week, I will show you how we can add slicers, make it interactive. You don't need to present it on PowerPoint, no. You can present it on Power BI. On this app, you can present it to stakeholders and it will still make sense to them. You can present it on this and it will still make sense to them. So it's not sports that has the highest sale. If you look at it very well, the highest sales came from electronics. It was electronics that has the highest sales, which is 13,000. Now, if I want the exact figures for this, I have told you, click on it, come to visuals, come to values, come to data labels, scroll down, come to values, scroll down, display units, change it to none, and you have the exact figures. If you don't want decimal number, you can remove it. If you don't want decimal numbers, so you can say change it to 0. I don't want decimal numbers. So here you can see that electronics has the highest sales for this month, followed by sports, followed by home, followed by clothing. Now, even though the highest quantity sold was by sports, but what can somebody tell me what we can deduce out of electronic having the highest sales and sports having the highest quantity? What can you deduce for stakeholders there? What does it tell you? Yeah, how am I going to know which visualization to use to represent the data? Or is it the stakeholder will not suggest to you the visualization you should use? They will not. Yes, the price makes the difference. Thank you. The price makes the difference. The price of the electronics is high. It's higher than that of the sports products, and so that's why the sales are high. Now, how am I going to know which visualizations to use? And that is why you are in this class. The stakeholders, they don't know anything about visualization. So now I could say that I don't want to use this line graph and also use, so this thing comes by, it doesn't come to you once. It comes by you practicing and practicing. For example, now, if I want to as I represented total sales with card visuals, as I represented this total sales with card visuals, it gave me the exact information. And so I know that it is card that I want to use. And the card is the most appropriate, because a stakeholder might just ask you, what is the total sales for this month? All you need to do is to tell them through your visualization, this is the total sales for this month. Okay, can we know the total quantity that was sold? This is the total quantity that was sold by this month. And next week, we are going to split. So I'm going to save this. We are going to split the order dates into months, just like we did last week in transformation. That was why I taught you transformation first. So we are going to split the order dates and we'll split it into months and days. Then we look at some total sales. We look at the total orders that were sold per month. The total orders that were sold per month. Then we also look at the employees that sold this, employees that sold that. I'm going to save this just like I've promised. I'm going to save this so that we can continue this. Now, it's not compulsory for me to use a line chart here. I can decide I want to use a bar chart, because a bar chart will still also give me, it will still, so let me attempt to do it in a bar chart now. It's still probably going to give me the same meaning. The reason why I said it's still going to give me the same meaning is because a bar chart can also be used to present trends. So let me change this to a bar chart now. So to change this to a bar chart, I've reproduced it. Clustered, stack, column. Now, as you can see, this still gave me what I need. So I can use a bar chart here. So it is you that when you want to represent something, you will think about, oh, what is the most appropriate? I could use this, and as you can see, it is well clear to you, and you can still see clearly the highest product that has the product that has the highest sales for the month. And it is so here you cannot use card, because it's not going to make the comparison easy. You can't use card visuals here. So that's why I said it comes by you practicing and practicing. And another advantage of using bar chart is that I can decide to reduce all these all this color, that as it is reducing, the colors should also be reducing. So how do I do that? Click on Format Visuals. So when I go to Format Visuals, I go to Columns. So I start with electronic because I know that electronic is the highest. So I make it very bold. Then I go with sport is the next. Then I click on the next here. You can see that as it is reducing, I'm making the color to reduce. So that is also part of what you will learn as you keep practicing and practicing. I'm making the color to be light as it is reducing. Like I said, we are building a dashboard. So the class will vote which one we should retain. You know, I've already produced two now. Should we retain the line charts or we retain the bar charts? The highest winner wins. No, we cannot use. Can we use pie chart for this representation? Okay, everybody is saying we should use the bar chart. So very good. So we retain the bar chart, then we delete that. Yeah. So now, can we also include a footer to indicate which color it means? Yes, we can include that. But you because of your stakeholders, you wouldn't want your visualizations to be that bulky so that they won't understand. Like if you look at this very well now, this is self-explanatory to any stakeholder. As he's saying it, he knows that the highest sales for the month is electronics, followed by sports, followed by home, followed by clothing. So even if somebody has color blindness, you can see that one is thicker than the other, and those things are reducing. As the colors are reducing, when the sales are also reducing. So it comes by, that's why you don't use, in good visualization practice, you don't use different colors to differentiate things, because the reason why you don't do that for good visualization practice, I know that you might have seen some things online where people use different colors to represent visuals. But I'm telling you from experience, we do receive complaints from stakeholders. Sorry, I have color blindness. I don't know why there are different colors. And so that is why it is of good practice that you don't use different colors in the visualizations. So everybody has voted for bar chart. So we will retain bar charts. Can we use pie chart for this representation? Now, if we want to use pie charts is only good when you are representing proportions. Pie chart is good for proportions. Now, what do I mean by proportions? That is when you study now when I look at this, I discovered that it was trend. That was why I used a line graph. Let me attempt to change this to pie chart. You will discover that you are going to confuse your stakeholders because there are no differences. The differences are not much in the total sales. So it's going to confuse them. So let me change it to pie chart now. You can see the differences are not clear because some of them look alike. So you are going to confuse your stakeholders. So the person that asks for pie chart now, can you see why you can't use pie chart here? So it's only when you have a data, maybe one, like if this one is 32% and the next one is probably 15%, the next one is probably 60%, and the next one is 5%, then that is a good proportion, and that is where you can now use a pie chart. So I hope I have answered that question. So since we have voted for pie chart, for bar chart, so let me remove this visual now. So I am going to send this all the data to us so that you can be practicing. So I'm going to save this and we will continue from here next week. So before I do the recap, do we have anybody that have any other question? In proposition, I don't understand what you mean by proposition. Sorry. What do you mean by proposition? The person that asked the question, I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand what you meant by proposition. Maybe you wanted to say proportion. What I meant is if you are going to be using a pie chart, then there has to be clear differences between the categories. So if you have like 3 categories, one has to be like maybe 60 degree, maybe the next one is 30 degree, and the next one is 10 degree, then that is okay to use a pie chart because the differences will be clear to stakeholders. The reason why you are doing visualization is to make it easy for stakeholders to understand the data you are presenting to them. And so if you are presenting a data that they don't understand, then your presentation is useless then. Your visualization is useless. So all you should have at the back of your mind is, how can I make it simpler for my stakeholders to understand me? Especially those that have little or no knowledge with data at all. How can I make it simpler for them? So do we have anybody that have any question? I think this is the class that I asked the fewest questions. So does it mean that I was well explanatory enough? If I was well explanatory enough, just say yes on the chat box. Or you don't want to ask questions? Please, if you understand everything, just say yes. So that will give me confidence that yes, I've tried. All right, thank you very much. So in a situation where we are faced with data that contains over 20 different items, like this example is only for, how can we visualize and get it where it will be littered? Now, most of the time, for categories, you hardly find 20 categories. I want you to understand that. You hardly find 20 categories because in the data, clothing would have been classified. So even when you go to a manufacturing company that sell clothes, that sells shoes, they will classify clothes as one. They will classify accessories. The highest you can have as categories in most manufacturing companies, maybe 7 or between 7 to 10. It will hardly get to 10 itself because they would have classified some products as one. They would have classified it as one. So getting 20 is kind of difficult in categories. I know you saw that this one is 4. So you can still use this, but the only difference is just that it's going to occupy more space. That's just the only difference. But as long as your data is making sense, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to ask. Maybe I don't understand. Can you ask again, please? Personally, I understand Power BI and Excel class more than any advice for me. I don't know. I can't ask you. Maybe because you are still a beginner that's why I tell people that if you don't have like a data background, the best thing to do is to first of all sit down to learn Excel and Power BI because you will have a good knowledge of it, and that can help you for Python and SQL because for Python and SQL, you have to have like little knowledge, and except you are that exceptional, that's when you will quickly get it. You have to have like little knowledge about data. All right. Thank you very much. So he said I just explained it perfectly well. Is it possible you create a folder for each course so that it's easier for us to navigate through? I sent the link. I've not made it public. I've never made any of the videos public. So you cannot even search it on Google. So deliberately, I've not made it public. So when I send the link to you on WhatsApp, just watch it on YouTube. When I send the link to you on WhatsApp. All right. So thank you very much. Please, when you watch it on YouTube, drop comments. Don't just how do I put it? Don't just watch and you will not drop comments. Drop comments, give me a like on YouTube when you are practicing. Drop very good comments like you are dropping on this chat now. Drop very good comments. Oh, I understand it very well. Yes, I'm still going to recap. We have 5 minutes. So let me quickly recap what we have learned today. So I started with us getting all the data from CSV. So I went to text CSV and I combined all this data together. We loaded them in. Then we went to model view. So in this model view, I explained that we have tables. So this is the customer table. I explained why we have this customer table. These are all the entities for customer table. These are all the entities for employee table. These are all the entities for order table, all the entities for products, and all the entity for sales. And I said products, orders, employee, and customer can be classified as dimensional tables. That is, they are attribute tables. While the sales table can be classified as a fact table. And why did I say they are fact tables? They deal with numbers, numerical stuff. They are the numerical. And if you look at what we have done, what we have calculated, how we calculated the total sales, and how we calculated the total quantity was from the sales table. If you look at that very well. So then I explained cardinality to you, one to many. I believe that you understand one to one, one to many, why we are having that, why we are having one to many relationship. Then I went back to the report view and we did this visualization. We created a measure known as total quantity. We created another one, which is known as total sales. And we represented them with these card visuals. And so we picked category to understand the total number of quantity that was sold by category, and picked category to understand the total number of sales that were sold by each product as well. So next week, we are going to create more measures. We are going to use some Power Query transformations to change these dates, split them into months, split them into year, and we will look at percentage increase. We'll look at all those things like that. We'll look at how many employees, how many orders were sold by each employees. So we are going to create different reports. So this is just one report here that we have here. We are going to create different reports. And like I said, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this. So from here, we will continue next week. So let me save. To ensure that you know where you are saving your document to. So let me save as Power BI class. So you need to ensure that you know where you are saving it to. So me, I'm saving it to the document. So that's saved. So we continue from this place next week. So let me see your reaction if you enjoyed the class. I will drop the YouTube video within 24 to 48 hours. So thank you very much. Please, as you watch the YouTube video, drop comments, drop a like, follow me on all my social media platforms. Thank you very much. So see you next week. Bye for now.